Thanks for taking time in your day today to join our site visit with the Melbourne Women's Fund 2022 $40,000 Nurturing Grant finalist, You Matter. I'm Kate Eddy. I'm the co-deputy chair of the Grants Committee here at Melbourne Women's Fund. And before we begin, I invite you to join me in the spirit of reconciliation for our acknowledgement of country. Melbourne Women's Fund sincerely acknowledges Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples as First Australians and traditional custodians of country. We recognise and value their continuous connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. Before we meet the You Matter team, there's just a couple of housekeeping items to help you get the most out of the visit today. Attendees will be muted with videos off throughout the visit. You can enter questions and comments in the chat at any time. We'll ask everyone's questions towards the end of this session. So to access the chat area, in case you're not familiar, you can click on the chat bubble icon in the Zoom toolbar at the bottom of the window. If you can't see the toolbar, just hover your mouse over the bottom area of the Zoom window and it will pop up. Once you click on the chat bubble icon, it will open for you on the right and it will stay open. Lastly, just to let you know that this meeting is being recorded so that we can make it available for others to watch on the website. We are so fortunate to have this opportunity for an in-depth experience with our finalists. And this is a brief overview before I hand over to You Matter of what their application is all about. Their project seeking support is titled Delivering Home Havens to Empower Women Survivors, and it falls within our focus area of family violence, which is one of the Melbourne Women's Fund 2022 focus areas. This project takes place in Greater Melbourne and aims to increase capacity for ensuring best service delivery, development of beneficial family violence agency relationships, and training of volunteers in understanding the needs of survivors when setting up their homes. The team here with us today are Maxine Gross, CEO and founder, and Jen McMahon, service coordinator. I'm now pleased to hand over to You Matter for our tour. Thanks to Maxine and Jen.
Hi everyone, and thank you so much for joining us here today at our warehouse. My name is Maxine Gross and I am one of the founders of You Matter and the CEO. So welcome to the hub of our operations where all of our service delivery happens. But before I take you on a tour of the warehouse, I'd like to just tell you a little bit about You Matter and the need for our service and service coordinator. So You Matter was a charity that was formed just over 3 years ago due to a call out for one woman and her 2 children for help. They had escaped due to family violence, and it was due to that haven setup that I attended that I saw the immediate and life-changing impact that we provided through our service. And in recognition of the enormous need of what we do, You Matter was formed. So we then went on to develop a special, practical and unique program to provide women in need due to family violence, which empowered those women to have the strength and the support to begin their new life. Our service also supports overwhelmed family violence agencies who often struggle just to find accommodation for these women, let alone to have the resources and time to have all of those extra touches that really make a house a home. So we've worked with family violence agencies such as Berry Street and EDVOS, Orange Door Services, Macaulay Women's, and over 30 family violence agencies now. And us providing this whole service, that's what we do. This is our niche and it's very unique. At You Matter, it's our mission to ensure that women and their children who have escaped family violence are then supported so that their home is functional, comfortable and fully equipped so that they can begin to rebuild their life, free from family violence. And it is our vision that those women and their children feel supported and safe to live in their own homes and their community. These women are in need of practical and caring support, and with our service, we provide them with the strength and dignity and respect they deserve to start again. The women's needs when we're setting up havens are at the centre of every decision we make, with the utmost care and consideration given by our staff and volunteers at every stage of our service delivery process. The need for You Matters service is greater than ever. During the pandemic, many of you may be aware that the incidence of family violence almost doubled. So we have, in just over 3 years with lockdowns, we have now created over 111 haven setups. So that means we have helped over 111 women and around 120 children. So, an incredible impact in a short amount of time. And at the moment, we carry out an average of about 2 haven setups per week. So we all know the need is great, but to continue to provide best service to meet the needs of these women and in all elements of our service delivery, we know that we needed to look for investment in key staff that were critical to what we do. Until recently, You Matter has been 100% volunteer run with a dedicated volunteer board, and the key staff that we realised we had to have to be sustainable and carry on were a CEO part-time, which I started in June as that, and the full-time warehouse manager. And Jared started with us in June also. And Jen is the other very critical role, is our service coordinator, which is a part-time position. And Jen started with us, or that role was created at the end of August. So it's very new, but very, very important. So employing a dedicated service coordinator is vital to ensure the best service delivery for women and that all their needs are being met. You'll see here today that just what is involved in setting up a haven for our women and children, and the role of the service coordinator, and how critical it is to ensure the ongoing, sustainable and impactful manner that we deliver our havens. Some testimonials from women in our 96 haven who said, "It looks so wonderful and I'm so happy that because of how they are all set up here, my children can now come home to stay with me." To caseworkers at family violence agencies such as Macaulay Women's Services, who said, "This is such a crucial service and I can't stress enough how life-changing it is to give a woman a head start at a life of independence free from violence." And through today's site visit, I hope that you have a better understanding of just what's required for this critical role, so that we can empower women to move forward and thrive with dignity and respect that they deserve. So thank you. Now I'll introduce you to our service coordinator, Jen. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Maxine.
How are you?
I'm well.
That's good. Would you be able to tell everyone here today a little bit more about your role as service coordinator and why it is so critical?
Yeah, so I'm the new service coordinator for You Matter, and I started at the end of August, so not very long at all. So there are 3 main parts of my role, and the first one is building relationships with family violence organisations. And we do that so that the women feel empowered and included, and they feel heard and involved in creating their new home. The second part of that is volunteer coordination, training and ongoing support. And we do that so that we can carry out our duties in a respectful way towards the woman, and that our volunteers are doing that in an informed way. And then the third part would be measuring outcomes. So what do we know that we can actually accurately meeting the request best practice?
Yeah, and because up until now, we've only been able to get immediate feedback at the point when we finish the Haven, but what we'd like to do with Jen's new role, and what's really important, is to know the long-term impacts of these women staying in the home and just what it meant to them.
Yeah, so we do get feedback from the women immediately when they enter the house, verbal feedback. And we also later on get feedback through written form, through the caseworker and the client. Yeah. But my main role really, that would be my three main parts. But to summarise that, it would be that I'm really the link between the woman and the caseworker and our volunteers and our staff. And what we are trying to do is to work towards providing a safe place for that woman, what we call a haven. So the word haven means safe and peaceful place, which is, it's a pretty good description of what we try and provide. Just to start off, our women that are working with a caseworker are usually left a family violence situation and they're in living in some kind of crisis accommodation. Crisis accommodation is usually around about 8 weeks. They could be living in a motel. Sometimes it's living on the street. Sometimes they're couch surfing. But most of the time there is some kind of crisis accommodation. And the caseworker works with that woman to do things like that. They might need to get a lawyer. They might need to find their children in school. They need to find long-term accommodation, all those types of things that they'll be very, very stressed working on. But what WMAD can do is to set up their entire home and take away that worry for them. So it's a real benefit to the organisation and the woman that we can really take that away from her and do all those types of things for her. So once she's got some long-term accommodation through the caseworker, they fill out a referral form, and the referral form really has everything on it. So anything from potato peeler, dog bowls, couches, fridge, washing machine, all of the laundry equipment, shampoo, toothbrush, really everything that you can possibly find in your home will be set up by UMATA. What we do know is that about 99% of women leave home with absolutely nothing other than the clothes that they're wearing. And that also is for if they've got children. Also, the children are usually left in a real hurry. They may sometimes have, some identification, but sometimes they don't even have that. So they leave with nothing. And so the referral really covers all the things that she will need for a home. The main thing is to remember is that not on the referral form, it's not just about items. It's not just about a fridge and a couch and a bed. It really is what we try and do is ask the woman about what are her interests. What are some of the things that she used to do when life was safer? What are some of the things that her kids really love? Do they like reading? Do they like playing with certain things? All those types of things. We really, really focus on creating a personal touch for the women, not just objects. So some examples of that would be this week we had set up a haven for a woman. She really used to love cooking. So we got all these herbs and spices. She's Indian herbs and spices, and she really loved that when she returned to the house. And she also asked us to do a shrine. Now, I'm not religious in any way, so we had to do a bit of a Google for that one and find out what does the shrine look like. She said a wooden shrine, but that was all the hints that we got. So we did a little bit of research, and again, she was really pleased with what we'd done. The other example would be a woman who had a child with autism, and she said that her child likes certain colours, but the main thing is that he really loves building and likes sensory items. So we've got a really big toy cupboard, and we were able to provide that little boy with really lots of different textures and soft toys and Lego and building blocks and all those things. And he was pretty excited when he came home, to see all those things. It was a bit like Christmas Day.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Jen. We'll come back shortly.
Okay.
I'll see you out there. Now, we're just going to go out to the warehouse, and I'll introduce you to our warehouse manager, Jared, who can talk you through his role in the service delivery. Hi, Jared.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
That's good. Would you be able to tell everyone here today a little bit about how you pull together a haven and what's required as a warehouse manager?
Sure. Hi, my name's Jared. I'm the full-time warehouse manager here. So my role is centered around managing all of our goods donations, making sure that we always have in stock all of the items needed to fully furnish a home. So just quickly around the warehouse, we have our goods collection volunteers here, unloading for some recent pickups from our donors. Over here we have a pantry storage area where we make up kits to stock the women's pantry for approximately about a month. We also do kitchen packs, pantry packs, laundry and bathroom, all the same kind of stuff. So everything that you need to have a fully functioning home. Further around furniture-wise, we have everything you need. So mattresses, beds, sofas, armchairs, all the way around through the racking is all dining chairs, tables, bedside tables, dressers, absolutely everything you'd think to be furnished into a home. We also do some electrical items. So we have television, microwaves, kettles, all that kind of stuff. So all of the donated secondhand electrical items need to be tested and tagged, just to ensure that they're safe and in working condition before we send them out. With the electrical items, we also provide white goods and appliances to the women. So all of them actually need to be purchased brand new by us. So that's just to ensure that they're reliable and don't end up breaking down, because it's really hard to manage, I guess, secondhand donations of white goods and appliances. Behind me here are some of our women working away at the working group we've got today. Hi, everyone.
Hi, ladies.
It's a vital role that we rely on to get through all of the donations that we get. We couldn't do it without them. Behind them further, you can see a bookshelf full of books. Down the back is more children's toys, decorated items, and these shelves are filled with all linen. So bedding, towels, blankets, pillows, cushions, again, everything needed for a home. They're all packed away in different sizes and colours, so we can choose the right things depending on the size of bed and the woman's preferences.
Thanks so much, Jared. I'll let you get back to your work now. And actually, maybe you can tell us a little bit first about what happens once you've got all the items in stock in the warehouse, and what's your next role with that towards setting up a haven?
Yeah, so I work with Jen, our service coordinator. So once she has received the completed referral form, we have a good read through that, figure out the woman's kind of wants with colours and style preferences with furniture. We also try and look at the property, if we can get a floor plan or even photos, just so we can get a good idea of what's going to fit. From there, I will book in a removalist on a date that suits the client, and then to try and juggle that to suit everyone. After all that's done, I begin selecting the furniture. So I choose all of the sofa, dining table, and everything to, I guess, both fit the apartment or the house and the woman's needs. So she might have particular, I guess, colours that she likes or styles of furniture. So we try and get all that to match up.
Okay, now I'll let you get back to work. Thanks for your time, Jared. So I'll take you over now to Jen and the staging area of our haven. Hi, Jen.
Hi.
So again, maybe you can tell people a little bit about your role with regards to the Haven volunteers and training up of the Haven coordinators.
Yeah. So before our volunteers go out to a haven, they need to have some training. And so there's a few things that we cover: health and safety, because they're lifting a lot of things and moving boxes and those types of things. Talking about confidentiality, really important in particularly family violence, that we are maintaining a woman's confidentiality. And communicating. So a lot of the women that we've worked with, or all of the women really, have gone through some kind of trauma, and really important that we are being really mindful and respectful of what they're going through. Then there's also some elements of family violence. So with that in mind, talking about trauma and the impact it might have. So some women that we might meet are feeling very vulnerable when we meet them and very overwhelmed. And then we talk about how to set up the haven. And the way to do that is to really make the woman the front and centre of what we're trying to do. So as I said before, it's not just about the furniture, it's really about some of the little touches that we have.
So well, maybe we can move on then. Tell me about what happens, or tell everyone about what happens once you assign a haven coordinator.
So once we assign the haven coordinator, the haven coordinator would come to the warehouse. She would have a look at the items that Jared has selected in terms of the furniture, and then she would start doing the staging. So, for example, you can see the woman actually has like blue. She likes blue, and she also has a disability. So we have to be really mindful that we are choosing items that she's going to be able to manage with her disability. And you can see that, for example, we've got the bed all in blue, and some little blue ornaments, and some blue couch, a grey couch. So it looks really good. And this is our
one of our star
haven coordinators. And this is Fiona. Thanks, Fiona. Does a great job. She's a really good stylist. We also this week we're setting up a haven for a woman, a grandmother with a 7-year-old granddaughter. So this woman has lived through family violence as a child herself. She then married into another family violence situation where her ex-partner was the perpetrator. She left that situation, and then she moved in. She was with her older children, and her children actually became the family violence perpetrators. And so in order for her to create a safe environment for her granddaughter, she's decided that she needs to take her and to move her away into some other accommodation. So we'll be setting up for her this week, and that'll be, I think it's going to be a very emotional time. She actually cried when she was filling out the form. So I think there's going to be quite a few tears on the day when we do the unveiling.
So can you maybe tell us a bit about what happens on the actual day of haven setup?
So all these items here, so after Fiona's done all the staging, all these items get packed away and popped into these big crates. And on the day, the removalists arrive early in the morning. Around about the same time, the haven coordinator meets the woman at the house, gives the haven coordinator the keys, and the woman shows us around the house so that we know any requirements that she has, but also which is her room, which is the children's room. And then she needs to leave. So she leaves for about 3 to 4 hours. It's really important that nobody else meets the woman. It's really for her safety and her confidentiality. So, for example, the haven coordinator really only gets her first name, so we don't know any other details. I know a little bit more as the haven, as the coordinator, but that's all. So after that, the woman leaves for about 3 to 4 hours. The removalists arrive and start setting up. They put together all the white goods, put together the beds if they need assembling, and then the volunteers arrive. So once the volunteers have arrived, they set up all those things that Fiona is doing, all the personal items to make it feel more homely. And once that is all done, the removalists leave. The Haven coordinator stays there. The volunteers have already left. And then we do the unveiling of the property to the woman, and when she's returned the keys.
Oh, well, can you share some of those reactions from the women with us?
The most common one is actually this.
And a lot of tears, right?
Yeah, there are a lot of tears.
From both sides.
And kind of nervous laughing, I should say. A lot of excitement. From my point of view, I've been on quite a few. It is the most rewarding thing to witness somebody be so overwhelmed with that sense of I'm worth this. One of the comments, I'm just going to read this. I can't believe that people I've never met have been so kind to me. Or things, this is far more than I could ever expect. So it's really lovely. So I'll just finish up with a very quick case study, a recent one a couple of weeks ago, and I hope you don't mind, I'm going to have to read this. Recently, when I was showing a woman around her home, we got to her son's bedroom, and she became very emotional. She said her ex-partner had her son, her home, and had employed an expensive lawyer to get custody of her son. She, on the other hand, had suffered violence from someone she thought loved her, was living in temporary accommodation, had left her job, and only saw her son every second weekend due to the crisis accommodation that she was staying at. She explained the reason that she was so emotional when she saw her son's bedroom is that her ex-partner's lawyers had demanded proof of where her son would be staying if she got custody. She said UMATTR had not only provided a lovely place for her son to stay, but she could now provide actual proof for the lawyer that she deserved custody of him and could provide a place where he could be well cared for.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks so much, Jen, for sharing everything that you do. Clearly, I think everyone's seen today what a critical role this is. I'll just so, as you can see, it's a very important role to ensure best service delivery for our women. What we offer here is a unique service that has real and tangible impacts and makes a difference to women restarting their lives. It's practical and it has an immediate impact. Importantly, it keeps these women from returning to a place of harm. So, you know, and the key part is that it empowers them to move forward with dignity and respect, which they fully deserve. Now I'd like to share with you these final words, which are actually from our pilot client, Lara, who I set up, and that was the reason we started this. I can tell you now, without a doubt, if it wasn't for the support of these amazing women, I would have gone back. I couldn't have started a life for my kids, free from domestic violence, without them. I am eternally grateful to UMATTR for coming and turning our empty house into a home, where the kids had clothes, beds, toys, and all the necessities they needed to know we were going to be okay. We are still there in the same home, with the same beds for my kids, the same white platter that was filled with roast chicken and vegetables that first night, the first home-cooked meal we had been able to have in over 2 weeks. That platter now gets filled with the occasional mix of sandwiches or chips or sausage rolls. We still have the same vase that had a beautifully scented bunch of flowers in it that made me smile every time I walked in the door for the first week or so of our new life. That vase now sits on my table with a dried bunch of my favourite flowers. Get quite emotional reading that. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us here today. I hope we've given you a bit of insight into what we do and why it's so important. And I'll see you again in question time. Thank you.
Thanks again for the tour of the warehouse and sharing those lovely stories with us. We've got time for a few quick questions.
Yes.
And so there's been a few that have have come up in the chat. But first of all, I just wanted to ask you about your funding. I know that you've had some success with philanthropic funding from other sources, and could you share that with us, please?
So yeah, it's been, I mean, as a startup, it's always very much trial and error. You know, we're only into our 3rd year of operation. And so most of our funding has actually been through running events from individual donations. And some of that, you know, some of our big events were through such as an event that was hosted by Macquarie staff, where everything that we raised through that event was matched by the Macquarie Foundation. So, you know, we haven't really had many live events at all. So much of our fundraising has been done online, virtually. Yeah, that's been the main way, through individual and you know, other foundations that have supported us. And we do apply for a few grants, but you know, as everyone's aware, it takes a lot of time and they're very competitive. So mostly through individual donations and a little bit of local government funding. But
yeah, oh well, that's great. Thanks for sharing that with us. A few questions have come up in the chat. One person is asking if you're able to share where the warehouse is, and if you are willing to accept donations, how would people do that?
So yes, we don't accept donations directly to our warehouse, but the way that people can donate to us is that they email our donate goods at umatter.org.au email. And actually, if they go onto our website, which is very basic at this point in time, but still, if they click on the Donate Household Items tab, a description will pop up, which really tells them all the items that we require in a home, and it gives a few sizes, because we need small sofas and small tables and chairs and things like that. So what happens, they send an email to our warehouse manager. He'll reply, you know, they need to give some photos, descriptions, the goods need to be in really good quality, and then he'll reply and arrange the goods collection team to go out and collect those items. Sometimes we may have people dropping off goods to the warehouse, but it's not like, we don't do it just ad hoc, because otherwise it's very expensive to sort through items that we wouldn't need or require.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Great. And time for one last question. How many volunteers are involved in setting up the havens for You Matter?
Oh, so well,
On the day?
on the day or overall? Because we have
Overall.
volunteers, and at each haven setup, there are 3 to 4 volunteers, and so you know, and we've done 111 setups. So there's always, and when we put out a call out for haven volunteers, it gets snapped up very quickly. We try and share it around, but there are a lot of people. So I'd say over the 3 years, there's been probably 60 or so, you know, haven volunteers that have helped.
Oh, wow. Well, that's such a great story. It's so nice to hear so many people giving their time, and I'm sorry we don't have time for any more questions, but thanks again for showing us. Really appreciate it, Maxine and Jen, and all the other people who appeared. Now that's the end of the You Matter segment. I just have a few reminders for members. We have the Melbourne Women's Fund. The Melbourne Women's Fund Information Night video, which has information about You Matter and the other 2022 finalists, is now available on our website. And the Grants Awards celebration is back to an in-person event this year, which will be held on Thursday, the 17th of November at Melbourne Town Hall. If you haven't booked already, there will be a link posted in the chat, and you may have received a reminder email and seen information on social media about how to get your tickets. Finally, our sincere gratitude to You Matter and all our finalists, and to all of our members who make the Melbourne Women's Fund grants possible. Thank you again, and thanks for bearing with us. Enjoy the rest of your day, have a lovely weekend, and see you at the Grant Awards on the 17th of November.